Assalamu alaikum and welcome back to the channel. Today we are going to build another project which is a workshop, and it is Caesar Cipher. So let's start it. And we will create a program called Caesar Cipher, which is an encryption method that shifts letter in the alphabet to encode messages. So we are going to make an encryption system based on Caesar Cipher encryption method. So first of all, we are going to create a variable named shift and assign it the value 5. So step number 2 is we have to create an other variable which is alphabet, and we are going to store all of the letters in the alphabet as a single string. So A, B, C. Let's check our code. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N. Let's now know more about Caesar Cipher. It uses simplest techniques like substituting each letter of the plain text with the letter found at a fixed number of positions down the alphabet. For example, with a shift of 5, A would be replaced by F, B by G, and so on. So we have to create another variable shifted alphabet and use the slashing syntax to assign the portion of alphabet. So we are going to slice the alphabet string using the slashing method and assign it to the shifted alphabet. So we have to use slicing index syntax to assign it the portion of alphabet. So we are going to assign it the portion of alphabet that starts at the index of shift. So there are two index in the slicing method. First it start, and then we put a colon, and then we write stop. So we are going to omit the stop, and only we are mentioning the start. So what it will do, it will include that starting index and slice till the end of the string. So we are starting from the shift index, which is 5. And we have to call shift, we have to call print function, and we have to print the shifted alphabet. So A, B, C, D, E, 5 letters, these 5 letters. So index is 5, meaning the sixth letter, starting from the sixth letter. So yes, F is also included. So we are now on the step number 4. So this shifted alphabet starts at the letter F because shift has the index 5, which I have already explained. But now the first five letters of the alphabet A, B, C, D, and D, A, B, C, D, and E are missing from the shifted alphabet. So you will need to add them at the end of the shifted alphabet. You can use the plus operator to concatenate the missing portion of the alphabet. What we can do, we can also slice the alphabet, which is the original string, again, because strings are immutable. Original strings cannot be changed, so this will create a new string and this will also create a new string. So yes, what we have to do, we have to concatenate the missing portion of the string. So we started with the index that is given by shift, and all the letters that are preceding the shift variable's value are missing. So what we can do, we can write the alphabet, and we can start from the starting of the string till the value of the shift variable, which is index 5. So and the stop value is not included in the string, so but here the starting value is included in the string, so we will not see F in the second string. Yes, so we are getting the string from F to Z, then the first 5 letters of the alphabet. So it is step number 5 now. What we have to do here, we have to remove the print statement, and step number 6 is so the str, the string name dot make trans method makes to a string of equal length and returns a translation table that maps each character of the first string with the corresponding character of the second string. Each character in the translation table is stored as a Unicode ordinal, a number that uniquely identifies the character. So we have to create a translation table, and we will look into detail what is a translation table, but I will explain it to you in a few moments. But first we have to create it. So we have to create a new variable, translation table, and the string name, and so now we have to write str dot make trans, and we have to give both of our strings to it. So we are giving it the alphabet and the shifted alphabet strings. So we have to create a new variable text, assign it the string hello world. So this will be our string which we will encrypt. So the translate method takes as argument the translation table generated by the str.maketrans. So the string method str.maketrans generates a translation table which we have assigned to translation table variable, which we can give to translate function as an argument. So it is called on a string and returns a copy of the original string where the characters have been replaced based on the translation table. So we have to call it translate method on text using sentence dot so let's write it same as this statement, translate, and we have to give it text, but oh yes, so sentence is this. So we are okay. So let me explain to you. I have already explained this part, so let me explain it briefly again. So this str.maketrans method takes two strings and makes a translation table where each letter of the string are decoded as Unicode values, which are integer numbers, and it is a table. So we have stored that table into the translation table variable, and we have created another string which we have to encrypt. So what we are going to do here, we call the translate function on the string we want to encrypt based on the translation table. So we are writing text.translate method called on that string, and we are giving it the translation table variable as an argument, which has the translation table generated by str.maketrans. So what it will do, it will change the letters of the string on which we have called the translate method based on the translation table. So we know what it does, but how it does that we will note in our later videos. So we don't have to use this. We have to store all of this in another variable, which is going to be encrypted text. So we have to print the encrypted text. So the message has been encrypted. The next step will be making your code reusable in case you want to encrypt different messages. So for that you will need to create a function. So you have to create a function called Cipher. It is best practice to make your functions on the top of your script. Put all your existing code within the body. So we have to put all of this in the function body. So we have indented it by a tab, and so yes, so the next step is we are going to give 2 parameters to our function, and we have to delete these hard-coded values, which are text and shape. So we have to call this Cipher function by calling it with a string. So the first argument will be a string, and second argument will be shift, and shift will be 3. So we are going to assign this function call to a variable named encrypted text. So our code is reusable. The Cipher function prints the message on the terminal and gives back none by default, because we are not returning anything from the body of the function. So we have to print the encrypted text, and yes, it says none. So step number 14 is the return statement. We have to remove this print function, and we also have to delete the declaration of encrypted text. And we will return the encrypted string directly from this statement. So we also have to concatenate the upper version of the string themselves. So how do we concatenate? We write the plus sign, and we are going to concatenate using the upper method, and we are going to do the same with each string. So yes, what we did here, we concatenated the strings with the uppercase version of them, and the string became double the size of the previous version of it which we were giving, and same happened with the second string. So step number 16 is that we have to implemented the basic functionalities of the cipher. It's time to add some validation. For that you will need an if statement. So at the beginning of your function body, so we have created a statement. So for now we have to use true as our condition, and we have to return the string shift must be an integer. Okay, we have to also add the full stop here. Yes. We also have to use the isInstance function. Returns true. So isInstance function returns true if its first argument is the instance of the second argument, and false otherwise. So if the first argument is the instance of second argument, it will return true, otherwise false. So we have to replace the current condition with the statement is instance. So we have to pass shift as the first argument and int as the second. Okay, so we are going to use the not operator, which negates the logical expression. It converts false to true and true to false. So first we have to analyze this if statement, that why we have to use the not logical operator. So the condition is if the shift variable is an integer, then this statement will be returned shift must be an integer, while the shift already is an integer, so we don't have to print this so we don't have to return this string. In this case we have to do it the other way around. So now if the shift is an integer, it will return true, and not will negate it false. So this if statement will not be executed when shift is an integer. So when shift is not an integer, it will return false, and false will be converted to true, and this statement will be returned. So we should not also consider a negative or a null number. So we also have to use another if statement that checks whether the shift is less than 1. So this condition also includes 0 and everything that is less than 0. So we have to return shift must be a positive positive integer. So we have to use if, but we can also use elif. Shift must be an positive integer. Full stop. If I write elif, let's see it. No. Yes. So step number 20 is, so we also have to include another condition, that the string should not exceed the length 25. So not shift, it's so not the length of the string, it's that shift should not be given a value greater than 25. So we have to create another if statement which will check whether shift is greater than 25. So we have to return shift must be an integer between 1 and 25. Okay, so we have to combine these two conditions here. So shift less than 1, or so it will check whether the shift is less than 1 or shift is greater than 0. If either is true, this statement will be returned. Yes. So step number 21 is that we have to specify the default values of the parameter in a function, so that our function can be called without any errors, even if the arguments are not passed in the function call. In that case, the default values of the parameters will be used. So we just have to assign it the value normally. So we have to add the third variable, which is encrypt, and default value boolean true. So step number 22 is so now we can use our function to decide whether we want to encrypt that passed string, or do we have to decrypt it. For this purpose, we are going to make another if statement which checks if encrypt is not truthy. So if you want to check if a value is not truthy, we use the not logical operator preceding it and then the value or the variable. So we have to assign this shift to minus shift. What it will do, it will make the shift's value negative, and we will and the shift will take place in the opposite direction with respect to the encryption process. Step number 22 is we have to create two functions which are encrypt both with text and shift. Encrypt and decrypt. Encrypt and decrypt both with text and shift parameters. So we'll use encrypt for the encryption process, decrypt for the decryption. Return a Cipher call passing in text. So we have to return both of these parameters. So we are calling the Cipher function from both of these functions, and we will call Cipher next shift. So we also have to give false for the third argument, which is encrypt. So we don't have to pass the third argument when we are in the encrypt function, because we have to use the encrypting functionality of our function. But in the decrypt function we have to use that. We don't have to use that encrypt functionality. We have to use the opposite of it, which is decrypt, so which will be false. So we have to use return keyword. So this function will return while calling the Cipher function. Text shift and false. Okay, F must be capital. Step number 24 is we have to test the encrypt function using the same arguments. Replace your Cipher call with call to encrypt. So we are going to use the encrypt call here. So we are checking the same output. What we were doing previously, we were directly calling the Cipher function, but we have divided the function calls of Cipher into two parts: the encrypt function and decrypt function. Encrypt function will use the encrypting functionality of our Cipher function, and same with the decrypt function, which will use the decrypting functionalities of the Cipher function. So, and here we are calling the encrypt function and giving it the appropriate arguments. So this is the last step here. We are going to test the decrypt function. So this is an encrypted string, and we are going to decrypt this string. Let's change it. And let's pass it this function. Let's pass it this encrypted string, which will go into the decrypt function, and it will be decrypted. Decrypted text. Okay, assign it a call to decrypt with encrypt text, and we have to use the shift 13. So shift should be 13. So yes, we have our decrypted message, which is courage is found in the unlikely places. Okay, we have to put all of this encrypted string in the encrypted text. One minute. Let me clean all of this. And we are going to give the first argument, which is encrypted text. And yes, we are getting this encrypted text. And yes, we have completed our project. This was an interesting project, but really exhausting. So yeah, this is it for today. 3 more modules to go, and we will complete our Python's basics. So till then, Allah Hafiz.